Okay, so we're going to do some cool stuff today by painting on black paper. You can paint on black paper. Now this is something I got at Staples. It's not quite as shiny as the white paper, but it seems to work just fine. It doesn't absorb terribly much. And I did this in painting that I'm going to do on top of that black paper. And we're going to learn how to do this and how to work with the dark underneath, which is totally cool. So to make this part, I used the Montana white, and I used the color place white as well to make kind of the aura around the moon. This blue color here is this Montana light blue, and this darker color here, you could use Montana darker blue, or you could just blend that lighter blue right into the black, Montana black, or some other brand is fine. You're going to need a sponge to make, or some foam, painter's foam, to make these kind of effects here. And you're going to need a fan brush to make this, to make the waves. And you're going to need a paint spatula to make the grass and the tree. And just a little bit of newspaper to make the leaves on the tree. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so I'm starting with my black paper, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this moon, which is white. So I definitely have to spray white on it because it's all black. So I spray some white on it. Not too much because you don't want to have to wait like forever until it dries. But just enough to cover the area. Don't use a thin paint like Color Place. Use a thick paint like Montana or Painter's Touch or Rust-Oleum. So when you feel it's dry enough, you can't dry this with a lighter because it'll leave a little stain on it. Then put your can on top of it. And I'm going to put a little black underpainting in the areas where I want the sky to be darkest, and also where I'm going to, and also in the reflection in the water, and also where I'm going to use my foam to create a little bit of a land effect underneath the moon. So now I'm going to make my sky. So I've got a kind of a medium blue color, so I'm just going to spray it all over the sky. And I'm going to spray it on top of that black, and then I'm going to spray it in the area where the water is. Again, everything in the water below the moon has got to reflect what's above the moon in the sky. And that's a little bit of Color Place blue. I'm using that just to blend that light blue into the dark blue. So it's a very gradual progression. Now I'm going to use a little bit of Color Place white around my moon, and that's going to create a nice glow. And a little bit on the water as well. There we go. So I'm spraying a little bit of Color Place white on top of the moon, and you can see it's so transparent that it just makes the moon glow a little bit. And what's cool about the black paper is there's a little black outline of the moon because of where the can was. So now I'm using my foam, and since I've got black underneath the blue, and it's still pretty wet, all I have to do is just rub on it with my foam, and I create kind of a very soft, mountainous effect. So I'm basically dividing the sky from the land with that. And then with my fingers, I can make it look very watery just by rubbing my fingers back and forth a little bit over that. And I get a little bit of a water effect, that easy. If it's dried out on you, use a little transparent, not a problem. And I'm going to make some waves now. And I begin with little small ones with my fan brush. And I get bigger as I go. Now the paper itself is black, and there's a little bits of black underneath the paint as well. So when I use my fan brush without anything on it, I'm going to get a little bit darker effect. And you can see how it begins to look like waves if you start with small thin ones, and you get bigger as you get closer. And then if you want to just put a little highlight on the top of each wave, it looks even better. It's the reflection of the moonlight on the top of each wave. You can do that with a fan brush, or you can do that with your finger if you want. If you've got a fingernail, it's a lot easier. So So just paint the top of each wave with a little bit of white, especially where the moon is and, you know, sort of in line with the moon. And just like a minute, like under a minute, we have a scene with waves and a moon. It's just like amazing. This technique is so cool. Now we're gonna teach you even more at spraypaintartsecrets.com. This is just the very basic stuff, but we're gonna do some really cool detailed stuff there. So for members. So I'm putting a little transparent there, and I'm gonna create a little bit more of land with my foam just by rubbing it. And I can create kind of like rocks. I could use sliding newspaper techniques to do this as well. You can see my sliding newspaper techniques video. That's another way to do it. But I'm just showing you some different techniques that are available to you. Okay, so now I'm putting a little transparent on because I'm going to do a tree. I found this picture on the internet, and I kind of liked the idea. So I'm looking at the tree for just to get some ideas. But basically with my spatula, anything I lift up is going to come out black because my paper is black. So it's really easy to do, you know, a lot of thin black lines, which is what I wanted to experiment with. So I recommend that, you know, getting pictures and painting from them, because often people will bring you stuff that they want you to paint, so you need to be able to work from a picture as well. So painting on black paper is a really great way to get very thin black tracery kind of lines very easily. All you have to do is just draw them with your spatula. You can get lots of intricate black little lines like a tree silhouette. So really good for painting things at night. And that quickly. Now I want to make some of the leaves, so I got a little bit of newspaper, and I'll just, you know, press it to my paper here and there. It's crinkled up, and, you know, it removes the paint and reveals that black layer underneath, and it looks great. The silhouette of a tree. And you don't have to paint it, it's much quicker. And you can make some grass, and it's all a silhouette. It looks much more realistic when you have the black paper, and much easier to do. You know, you would actually have to paint all of those with a brush if you wanted them black. So there you have it. It took us just a few minutes, and we have a beautiful nature scene. So go try it yourself and tell me how it works out, and check out spraypaintartsecrets.com and become a member and learn the really cool stuff. Thanks. See you later. Bye.